Hello everyone, I'm Sophie and I'm currently at Kechara Forest Retreat, Bentong, Malaysia. And I'll continue sharing from the book that's by my guru, His Eminence the 25th Sam Tuku Rinpoche. And this is the book that I'll be sharing from, The Living Buddha Within, Sam Rinpoche. I will continue reading from chapter 4 on karma, page 36, the second last paragraph. Let me share with you a picture on a Tantric Buddha, Lady Vrajayogini. Right, we'll get back to the sharing. Karma was something that Buddha perceived in the first, the second, and the third watch of the night of his enlightenment, a total understanding of everything, which he experienced at the dawn of his enlightenment. Karma had just happened to fit into the principles of the great Hindu saints because they saw and perceived something higher. Anybody who has attained a higher understanding is able to perceive karma. Why? That must be a logical reason behind the disparity of the world, the disparity between people, the disparity in society, even the disparity within one family, between siblings who have the same equal start in life, yet they end up different. Although they have been brought up on the same values, with the same background, from the exact same people, their disparity within the family can be explained by karma. Karma explains the differences and disparity, the good and bad within the community, within the village, within the city, within the country, within countries independent with each other, and even between universes and dimensions. Karma explains it all, perfectly, clearly, and precisely. Karma also gives you a sense of fairness and makes you take responsibility. People who believe in karma as the driving force behind their life will take responsibility for their lives. We cannot have a religion for a privileged few. We have to have a religion that encompasses every sentient beings, including the animals, the insects, and other dimensions of formless beings where only the mind exists. Buddhism encompasses all sentient beings, human and non-human, of all disparities, all backgrounds, all races, all people, and explains every single person and being in this planet and beyond. This type of philosophy, as Buddha turned the wheel of Dharma, applies to every being, including the people in the jungle who do not know anything. It applies to the animals in the forest and why they are there. It applies to the crippled and the blind that are born in that way. It applies to the very wealthy who manipulates power. It applies to the leaders. It applies to the kings and queens. It applies to the normal citizens, and it applies to the nobodies in the world like me. It applies to people who are successful, and it applies to people who are not successful. It applies to a man and it applies to a woman. It applies to sick people and healthy people. It applies to short and tall people. It applies to happy and unhappy people. It applies to people who want to commit suicide and people who live in happiness and go to parties. This philosophy of karma, reincarnation, and responsibility applies to everyone and everything, even the insects. That is the vastness of Buddha's philosophy. No one is left out and everybody is covered. It is a gentle philosophy of truth, and it is a philosophy that explains and takes away the emptiness in your heart. It takes away the hopelessness and the helplessness, because although the karma is there and you are the creator and the author of your karma, it is not fatalistic. Your karma is not fixed and it can be changed. If you do nothing about it and you let your karma just flow, then yes, it does become fatalistic because you chose it to be. However, if you are doing something about your karma, it is not then fatalistic. In fact, it is optimistic because, for example, If you know that in 5 years' time you are going to have an accident, or 6 years later you are going to die and be born as an animal, or that 3 years later you are going to be separated from your wife, 2 years later you are going to lose your job, this news should bring extreme optimism to you. Why? Because you can do something about it. Then there is the question of what you would do about it. You would engage in examining the cause of how that happened. You could understand how to avert or stop the results from happening. People often think that karma is fatalistic. It is not. Fatalistic means it is fated, and that you cannot do anything about it. Let me give you logic. If karma is fatalistic, why meditate and practice and wish to become a Buddha? It is contradictory. How can you become a Buddha? Never mind becoming a Buddha, an all-omniscient being who can perceive all reality and phenomena simultaneously, past, present, and future. Never mind achieving the reality of perceiving all phenomena, you would not even get a job. You would not make those millions of dollars that you want to make. Ask yourself, why is it you cannot lose weight? Why is it that you cannot get a better job? Is it karma? Or is it because you did not do what was required? Therefore, think about the workings of karma. Now you may think, well, I have already created this karma, so I will have to suffer what I have already created. I have no choice. No, that is not the case. There are certain types of karma that you have which you cannot stop anymore, which have already sprouted. Then there are certain types of karma that you do not have to suffer, which have not begun to sprout or have yet to sprout. For example, if you have a very severe sickness and you are meant to die, but you do good Dharma practice, including excellent purification practices, you will still get sick, but you may not die. You may live so you can continue practicing. How much you enact the Dharma and how you practice in your life, how much and the degree and the sincerity and the authenticity of your practice will reflect in your daily lives, immediately in your attitude and your mind. An example of how your karma has sprouted is the state of your physical form and the place you live. That karma has sprouted, and therefore you are in that particular physical form, that particular shape, with those likes and dislikes. It has already sprouted. There is not much you can do about that. But things such as sickness, things such as an ignorant mind, these things can be changed because the karma has not fully sprouted. Why has it not yet fully sprouted? We can see it because the mind can still be changed. Health can improve because there are medicines and there are methods. Think about it clearly. Things that you cannot change because the karma has ripened, you take it with dignity, a pinch of salt, and accept with great grace, and not scream, shout out, fight back, kick and grovel on the ground, and complain about it to others again and again. What benefit does that bring? With things that you can change, you do something about it, but you do it with the right method. If you have financial problems, for example, don't shout and scream and talk about it and advertise it, but do something about it. Do something about it on two levels, on a spiritual level and on a worldly level. On the spiritual level, you should meditate on miserliness and the defects and the disadvantages of miserliness. Therefore, your mind starts to detach itself from miserliness and therefore cuts off the future potential to suffer poverty. On a worldly level, you should not indulge in dishonest businesses. Don't lie about your products. Don't lie about your skills. Don't lie about what you have or have not done. You should pursue what you are doing in a worldly way, but honestly, with effort and with enthusiasm. Through these two methods, you can make a change in your situation. And with that, I will end the sharing session for now, and I will be back later with more sharing. And thank you for sharing your time with me. If you do hear some noises, background noises, it's because we are a living community, and as such, noises are expected. So now I will end the session with a completion dedication in Tibetan. Jangjuk Sencho Rinpoche, Make Panam Ge Yushi, Ge Panam Pame Payang, Gone Gondu Pewashu, Toni Towa Rinpoche, Make Panam Ge Yushi, Ge Panam Pame Payang, Gone Gondu Pewashu, Daso Jini Sapa Ge Wadi, Tandan Drowa Gunagam Padang, Jepa Jesu no Santrapai, Tamping Gimpor into Sa, Se Sho, Ge Wakuntu Yandala Madan, Drami Choki Pala Long Chonchi, Sadam Dang Yak Terrazone, Doje Changi Ngapangatus, Ge Wadi, Yoduda, Lama Sangyo Drione, Drewa Chika Malupa, Sala Gopashu, Joki Kapusung Kapa, Josu Nampa Pewal, Geki Sama Siwadang, Tungi Malu Sawasho, Dadam Sungi Desendan, Drewa Songi Latini, Gewalo Santrapai, Tampayu Riva, Gyushi, Ni Modele Sendele, Ni Mingunyan Deleshi, Ni Sintatu Delepel, Kunchu Sungi Jingilo, Kunchu Sungi Ngodrosu, Kunchu Sungi Trasi, Sho. Yasunama Kusen Rapting Ching, Nam Katrini Joju Kepada, Losam Tempe Dromi Sapsungi, Droe Musa Tatuni, Yushi, Gangway Rawe Kowe Shinkam Dem, Bendan Dewa Malu Gyoeni, Charan Zit, One Tensing Gatsoi, Shape Shide Padu Teng Yushi, Home, Tombe Ngotro Malupa, then the Dala Salduso, Kodan Dempa Long Jotnap, Kepa Soshik Shukten Sal. Thank you again, and hope that you join me for my later session.